when you start going to the gym, you just kind of build this culture where you see these guys and you see this dude hit a big lift and you're like, yeah.
Change. And it wasn't like I was watching him. But it was like, really?
Say,
holy shit, you're still fresh off the boat.
You know it. Just crawled out here.
Came off the boat and walking.
A few beers with the boys at the bar, you know?
Those outgoing guys.
I'm a very friendly dude. My dad.
Some real talk. Eh?
That's fine.
Okay. Well, welcome to the Gary and Mike podcast. We're just going to jump right into it. I am excited to introduce you to my guest, Jason.
Hi.
So,
yeah, pumped to be here.
Yeah, we met each other actually just kind of like on the tail end of COVID, hey?
Pretty much. Just bumped into each other in the locker room and the good life there.
Yeah. Out in Airdrie.
Kind of started talking.
Air dry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A big small
town. Yeah. No, it was kind of weird because there was like maybe 2 or 3 people that I actually really did talk to. I'm not a big talker at the gym, but you were always super friendly, and like initially it was always kind of like a wave and a hi, and
of course,
we always kind of look, all the guys that are kind of training and are somewhat serious about training kind of give each other respect. And
1,000%, yeah,
right,
yeah, that's just a given.
Yeah,
I think like when you start going to the gym, you just kind of build this culture where you see these guys and you see this dude hit a big lift, and you're like, yeah,
no, absolutely, man. Yeah, and then we never really got into each other kind of personally, like in sort of real backstory of each other, right?
No,
we were just
really.
kind of just cheerleading each other on, and what did you work out today?
Yeah, how's it going?
Yeah.
You've been good. The holiday is good. Yeah, lovely, great,
right? And always like the same guys, like it's always around the same time periods that you kind of have the same crew and whatever in the gym.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, I've always admired you from afar and seen your growth, and I've watched you come from, a different space in your life. And then we hadn't seen each other for like probably about almost 2 years.
2, maybe even 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I ran into you here in Calgary up by the ski hill.
Yeah, the COP, yeah.
COP, Good Life there.
Yeah.
And then, you told me this crazy story. And then I was like, so by the way, I'm starting this podcast. Do you want to get on and kind of talk about your story? Because it is huge.
Yeah. I mean,
here we are.
The thing is like, a lot of people are kind of like when they meet me initially and we start talking and everything else, I find some people will be like, "Oh, like, are you okay to like, tell and share this story and everything else?" And like, yeah, like,
because it's always very personal, right? And you get right into it. And like, when you told me, I was like, I was literally like, he was getting changed, and it wasn't like I was watching him, but it was like he was getting ready for gym, and I'm like, so I was so interested in this story. So I'm like, "Are you coming or are you going?" You're like, "I'm coming." And I'm like, "Oh, sweet." So it's gonna like, I was gonna hear more of it. I don't know. Why don't you tell us kind of a little bit about your story in the last little bit?
I mean, for me,
where are you from initially? Actually?
Yeah, Nova Scotia, actually.
Are you?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, born and raised out there.
When did you hit the prairies?
About 10 years ago.
Oh, really? Holy shit! You're still fresh off the boat.
You know it. Just crawled out here.
Came off the boat and been walking ever since.
But I small town, and it's one of those things. I think kind of moving to a city like Calgary, like I've lived in like different cities across Canada and whatnot, but Calgary is kind of one of those cities that really hit for me because it was like, yeah, it's a bigger city, but it's like a very small town feel.
It is, yeah.
And not only that, I mean, it's clean. The mountains are a great trade-off. Like the weather's phenomenal here. Well, for me,
I mean, you know what? It hasn't always been. I mean, I grew up here in like the early 90s, and we were not shy to like a month of minus 40. Like we just came out of it, and like it's feeling like Hawaii these days. But I mean,
but that
this is kind of
even like minus 40. Yeah. Like it's a breeze out here.
I don't know.
Like,
really?
Bro, Nova Scotia.
I hate
you. Have no idea. Like growing up and like whatnot, and even like right up until I left, really. Like I'm not kidding when I say the snowbanks along every roadway are 6 feet high.
Yeah.
Your minus 40 out here.
Yeah.
Like it hits minus 20, minus 25 out there. The world stops.
See, I could trade off. I could do cold, but if it was snowing and I had to shovel snow every single day and like get out and brush my truck, man, I would like.
You're getting a snowstorm, bro, of like 30 centimeters every 3 days.
Yeah.
Like
no, I couldn't do it.
It's like, no.
And
the cold snaps.
Yeah. And it's like a wet.
Yeah. So it like gets into your bones. Like, everything is
cold.
I
know. Like so Aaron, he's from the prairies, from Saskatchewan, right? And he doesn't even know. Like when we went to Germany and we were there over my birthday is over like the Christmas period on December 23rd.
Nice.
And he's like, mother, it is cold as F out here. And I'm like, it was like +1, -1, but it was raining. And it was like, he's just like, it's like in my bone cold. I'm like, yeah, that's that.
You have no idea. I mean, honestly, the mountains are a really good trade-off.
Yeah.
From the ocean, but man, I miss the seafood so much.
Oh, dude, I know. We have some really good friends out from New Brunswick, and they introduced us to cold lobster.
Yeah,
you can actually taste the ocetion.
Man,
so good.
So my parents, like they live like down in Florida for 6 or 7 months of the year, whatever, outside of Tampa. And
I didn't even offer you a hot drink or water.
I know, because you're rude.
I know. I just got into it. I was like,
this guy.
I can get you something while you.
This guy.
Do you want something warm? You want a coffee or tea or
no? Maybe like a glass of water would be great.
Glass of water. I'll get you a glass of water.
Right.
Yeah. Just keep talking. I can hear.
Yeah. No. Of course.
Good. We're keeping it happy.
Yeah. So them being from out there, like when they come out here and visit, obviously they're always kind of trying to bring some seafood out here, which is great. And
so
then
do they bring like lobsters out?
They'll bring like flash frozen lobster already like shucked.
Okay.
And shelled off. So like pound and a half, and you're kind of doing your thing. And
there's this really amazing food truck, the Lobster Mobster. Have you heard of them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude. I had an amazing sandwich off them. Is that from Nova Scotia?
I think the guy originally is from out east, and then he moved to Maine. From the story that I know, and I mean, listen, the facts are as I'm grabbing them out of the sky just from what I've heard from different people and whatnot. Yeah. But I mean, who knows?
Yeah, but I mean, I thought it was from the East Coast for some reason. Yeah.
It's just very good. So like, it's funny because I grew up eating like lobster rolls as people would eat hot dogs.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like fresh seafood and stuff, and scallops are always a big thing for me. Also, I can't say legs. So if I'm training legs. Like it sounds.
What are you training?
I'm training legs.
I was just like the scallops and then the legs.
100% the legs. Yeah, 100%.
Okay, yeah. So we definitely got Easter.
Yeah, a few beers with the boys at the bar. I don't.
Always good people, man. Every guy that I've got a few friends of mine that are from like Nova Scotia or PEI, and they're all good, solid, like salt of the earth people.
I'll tell you honestly, like. The people out there, like a guy asked me the other day, he's like, how would you describe the people out there, like where you were growing up? And I'm like, you could be rolling down the street. A guy asks you to help him with something on his front lawn. 4 hours later, you're 6 beers deep and his wife is cooking you supper and you're hanging out in the living room.
One of those outgoing guys.
I'm a very friendly dude, man.
I know the other day when I told you, I'm like, oh, so by the way, I'm gay. And he's like, all right. Like, I don't know. What do you mean? So, and I appreciate that. Like, you didn't even bat an eyelid, and you're like, so reason why I say that is because my podcast is geared to the LGBTQ plus community as well, and safe place.
Yeah.
And not just, it's for everybody.
You know what's actually crazy that you even say that? So I just took on a new client actually. And we were kind of training together for the first time. And usually I like to train with my clients because also I'm a personal trainer coach.
Yeah.
Whatnot. But
we'll plug that for sure.
Yeah. But, so basically when I'm training my clients for the first few times, if we're going to be doing in person, I want to train with them because I want them to understand not only the intensity, but like I can like actually actively watch them find their flaws, know what I need to work on, how their body works, mechanics and whatnot. Right. Anyway, and he kind of asked me about like my story and if I was single and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I've been single for a while. And he's like, oh, you have a kid though? And I'm like, yeah. Anyway, so then we get into like that story, right? Which I can dive into.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah, but it was crazy because he started talking about his wife and this situation. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he goes, we're towards the end of the workout. He goes, man, he's like, how would you just like go up and get somebody's Instagram, or somebody's number? I'm like, well, have you talked to them before?
Right,
like, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, he's like, I just seen them. And I'm like, well, go up, introduce yourself, I guess, say hi, find something commonality. And if, the vibe is chill, like, then whatever, connect for a workout or whatever you're going to do. Right. and drink, whatever. And then I'm kind of on the machine. He walks up to this guy, and
so you were like, but I thought you had a wife.
Yeah, and I'm like, pretty sus here, bro.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, after we're texting on Instagram, and he messages. He's like, yeah, they weren't going for it.
They got ghosted.
They didn't have social media, and he's like, I didn't know how to ask for the number. It got awkward. I'm like, it's all right. I'm like, next time you're talking to him, he's like, how do you know it's a him? Yeah. Whatever. I'm like, bro,
well, I do have two eyes.
I'm like, I just seen you walk out to a dude, and he's like, oh, I couldn't resist, but he's like, you know, when people find out that I'm bi or gay or whatever, they're super judgmental and shit. And
it does actually change. Sometimes the atmosphere changes in the room. It's one of those things, right?
He's like, I couldn't believe it, like just how chill and easy you were.
And that's why when I say that's exactly why I bring it up, because I was like, well, I'd love to have your story because I know that, you know, what you've been through is going to be like inspiration because it was for me inspiration. It's going to be inspiration for somebody out there, but. Yeah, right away when you didn't even you're like, yeah, okay. Like, why are you even telling me that? Like, sure, like you're a great guy regardless. And I was like, okay, then honest.
Yeah, so, I mean that's the thing. Like I've always been just a super genuine, honest guy. I don't judge.
No, you know I picked that up from the first day.
Yeah, I mean everybody has their own life. You live your best life. You know what I mean? Like I've always had a very much like no care. Live my life to the day attitude and like, you know what I mean? And that forward thinking positive mentality, which honestly I've got from my parents. Okay. You know, my parents are, I mean, they're still together, you know, 45-ish, whatever years married.
That's a rare bird. That's a
unicorn. They still roast each other over breakfast. Like legit.
It's like, you can't find anything better. There's no like actual like teaching in life that better than your parents showing you how to love somebody. Hey?
Amazing.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And I mean, it's not like they haven't been through the shit, right? Bro. Like,
I mean, everyone.
I mean, going through high school, like we can get into some deep shit here.
Look, we can talk about whatever,
but like,
right? I mean, it is
I mean, it just came up, so
yeah.
But my a big thing for me is mental health, right? It always has been for a very long time, but my dad suffered severe depression.
Oh, okay.
From his job back home, and I mean, he was in corrections and. You know, that side of things and law enforcement and everything. And you see like so much crazy things. And he just went into this massive depression when I was in like grade 11.
Oh, that
and
sucks.
You want to talk about like a change? Like I've never seen my father I would say like vulnerable or like not what's the word? Not like happy, not positive, not whatever, you know? And then he just turned into like this shell of himself where he's like laying in bed, not talking to anyone really, you know what I mean? And it's like my mom is, you know, an emerge nurse crushing life, you know what I mean? Who does everything under the sun. I mean, she's superwoman. I have the most admiration and respect for my parents. And Gary, which I mean, when they come out here, they stay with me. But when it's like I'm with my best friends, you know, like
I love that.
We just do our thing, we talk, whatever. And I've always had this open line of communication with my parents, where literally I can tell them, ask them anything. They'll give me like, okay, the mom and dad version, and then they'll be like, okay,
now as an adult,
here's your reality version. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've always respected them miles for that because like. There's been times in my life, obviously, that, you know, we're going to get into that. I've had some hard shit, you know, and I've had to.
Well, that was the first thing when we got. I mean, you were just kind of just going through the story, and I was like, it was just one thing, and I was like, okay, and then another thing landed, and I was like, what? And then like another thing, and then you're just like, and like just for a second, I'm like, how are you still so positive? Like, how are you? And then, you know, now you're starting this, now you're doing a personal training and you're in your health kick and you're just literally like your mom, just like kicking ass and taking names. And I was just like,
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Let's see what this guy, what is where is that come from?
You know, and a lot of it is honestly, you know, I've always watched my parents drive forward, push, work hard for what they want. And they'd sacrifice a lot, you know, growing up playing as much sports as I did at like higher levels, you know what I mean? And like, obviously that takes severe dedication, not only on my part
and their
as
time
the athlete,
too,
but
right?
as my parents and them constantly working shift work and I mean, my parents never missed a game, Gary.
That's huge.
Like,
man. Are you an only child?
No, I have a little brother too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Does your brother have the same outlook to your parents that you do?
No. Unfortunately,
okay.
No. I mean, I wish he did.
Yeah.
Well,
the reason why I ask is because I've got a younger brother too, and we're completely two opposites, right?
Yeah, 100%. You'd see me, you'd see my brother. We're complete opposite human beings.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm as independent as possible, and he's not.
Right.
What's
your age gap between them?
3 years-ish.
Oh, okay. He's
2.5, 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
He's slightly younger. He's married and has 2 kids. He lives in Red Deer, actually.
Okay. Take you guys aren't that close?
No, unfortunately. I mean, there was some stuff. But
sometimes you have your earth family that you're born into, and then you have your made family, right? People that you can put yourself around and say, hey, these people are like my blood. You can choose that too.
I mean, growing up, like where my parents, where I really got like the idea of family and togetherness and like bonding and like positivity and uplifting each other, like our family back home, extended family, cousins, everything, so close.
You guys got a big family out that way?
Yes, like unbelievable.
Usually the East Coasters do. Don't you have like big kitchen parties?
100%, bro. Around the kitchen, man. That's it. Hanging out in the kitchen.
You see this stuff on the HGTV programs, those home building shows, and I'm like, I don't believe that.
Yeah.
But every time I talk to somebody from out east, they're always like, yeah, kitchen party.
Yeah, 100%. you go to a party, it's like 90% of people are in the kitchen.
Amazing.
It just is what it is.
Yeah.
Everybody's around. That's food, drinks. It's flowing, laughter, music, whatever. But yeah, that really drives me. And then obviously, as an athlete, the discipline and whatnot, and understanding how to learn or understanding how to lead, and also knowing when to follow. And you
also learn to kind of keep calm under the pressure,
of course,
too, right?
Yeah.
With any kind of sport.
Yeah, you got to understand like how to mentally compartmentalize certain situations. Put yourself in out of the box, take yourself out of the situation. You know what I mean? And like actually put yourself to a logical thought sometimes rather than an emotional one.
And it's a quick problem solving tool. It's in the moment. You have to act right now. You don't have a second to be like, well, let me think about this while you're running with the football. Right?
Yeah.
It's now or never. Right.
Agreed. Yeah. And then, I mean, going through school and growing up, and then, I get into where, it's okay, what are we going to do here? And, I'm rolling down the street one night and a dude decides he's going to, hop in a car, all tripped out on drugs, and run through crowds of people.
What?
And ended up.
Were you there?
Yeah, he.
Is this out in Canada here?
In Moncton actually. And dude actually clipped my knee, but he was like beelining for this girl, and I would say this woman's probably like at the time maybe 4'11", 5 feet, maybe 100 pounds.
Wow,
you know what I mean? And he's on the sidewalk coming directly at us. After he's already run through crowds of people, hit cop cars and whatever, trying to escape. Some serious people get injured. Like it was no joke. And he's like, I'd say he's clipping probably 30 clicks an hour. And I just looked quickly and I looked at this girl and I looked at the car. I grabbed her. I threw her like, you know how you have like the brick walls where you have the indents to go into like a business or whatever. And I just chucked her into one of those. And as I jumped out of the way, the fucking car caught my knee. There goes the knee, and like any hope that I ever had
for anything that was going to be
professional sports related.
Not too bad, man.
Then you kind of shift gears and pivot, and
it's kind of one of those things where you have to accept that, life happens and you have to figure that out.
Of course. Yeah. Cause I mean, ultimately up to that point, like there was lots of things in my life that were going in a good direction. Okay. You know what I mean? Like a lot of things were trending very highly and everything else. And, and then that happened. And that was the first time in my life, honestly, where I honestly sat down and I'm like, what am I doing? Like,
how old were you?
Sports, gym, 2021.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm like,
the first real question.
I'm like, this is my life.
Yeah.
This was my life.
Well, now you have
from the
change.
Time I was like,
I know that feeling.
Like 10 years old.
Yeah. No, I know.
Like in a gym constantly.
From one athlete to another. I completely understand your heart there.
So like, you're like, what am I going to do? And I don't know, probably 3-4 months goes by. I'm on the couch and just kind of letting shit heal and whatever. My dad comes in, he says to me, he's like, said, we can cry, we can fight. He said, it doesn't matter. He said,
Was he already kind of coming out of his funk at this point?
No.
So this is in the middle of his own pain.
He summoned whatever he had to do because he's seen how hurting I was. I mean, he was on the uptrend there for sure.
Yeah, like, but you're not out of it.
They're going through the massive concoctions of pill cocktails and whatever the heck they call it to like give him all of these different drugs to maybe have something aligned, right? Mm-hmm. And he's going through these crazy things where he's on like, this drug that makes him gain 40, 50 pounds in a month to like this drug, which makes him lose 10. And, then he can't eat and this and that. And the other, like
trial and error.
Yeah, just brutal. Right. Yeah. And he goes, listen, Jason, he said, something I learned a long time ago is he said, bad shit is going to happen to us all the time in life. He said, it's how you compartmentalize it, deal with it, understand that it's your past, but never live there. Just draw on it for experience moving forward.
Wow.
My dad.
Some real talk.
100%, and like, even thinking about it now, like.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's study. You can apply that for the rest of your life.
Set up literally. I look back from that moment to like now even, and all the tough shit that we're going to talk about that's happened in my life. I've used that. Because that's the only thing that allowed me to move through.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So that was the spark.
Yeah. And honestly, it put me into a mindset of mine from like, Jason, you can do this. You know what I mean? Like, there's no can't. It may take you longer. It may be harder. It may not always be easy. But
it's the first
if there's a will, there's
example,
a way.
Right?
Like you're gonna go. Then I get into just doing my own thing, and it's business to business, marketing, sales, banging on doors, getting told to pound sand, fuck off, whatever.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right? What do you do?
Grind that, build that skin.
You end up starting. You have to build a resume, anyways.
Of course,
right? You got to do something. Yeah.
So all I ever knew was how to talk to people, how to understand people, how to relate to people, because I've been through a ton of shit in my life. Mm-hmm. But also equally to that, I knew how to work.
Right.
I started working when I was probably like 10 years old, bro, in my grandmother's blueberry fields, raking blueberries with all the men right in the back of the truck.
Yeah, child labor. They didn't care.
Bro,
I was like, you can pull a rake, here you go.
Legit, I literally ate as much blueberries as I raked, dude. There's no doubt about it.
Maybe that was the little seeds that was put in that created
all those antioxidants. Right? But honestly, then I started working again at 14. My next door neighbor owned some Dairy Queens, and I started back there flipping burgers. My parents said, they're like, listen, if you want a car at 16, we're not buying it for you.
No.
That's
the thing. A lot of kids these days, it's all entitlement.
You get it?
Yeah.
Like, I'll take you, whatever. Yeah. And man, first car, 92 Pontiac Sunbird GT, turquoise green, bro.
It was sexy.
Was that no idea.
Where the ladies just come and
buddy,
bat him off, right?
Chrome hubcaps, so shining that shit up.
Yeah. But again, it was that pride, right? It's your first car.
Yeah, like it was mine. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then from
my very first car was a Honda that every time you put on, it was a Honda Accord, and every time you put on the heater, snow would come through the vents. So I mean, I know mine was a yellow and a blonde. We called her Blondie.
Love that. But yeah, I mean, so I think a lot tracks, honestly, mindset-wise, back to that moment for me. You know what I mean? And then, obviously, as an athlete and on teams, and having that discipline and understanding. And
what was your sport? Hockey or?
No, mainly baseball and baseball and basketball. Actually.
Okay.
And I loved golf. I mean, we grew up close to a golf course. I started golfing probably when I was like 12.
Sweet.
And very casually, but it was just something I love to do on the
You're
side.
Pretty good at it too?
Yeah, I'd say now I'm probably pretty close to scratch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Like my best round last year was 67.
I'm really good at driving the golf cart.
I love that. Yeah.
I can do that, and I can definitely drink.
Nice.
Yeah, no,
I can drink too.
I'm good. I'm good.
Once in a while.
Yeah, I'm not a big drinker, but when I'm on the golf course, I'm in a golf cart. It's definitely
people are like
par for the course.
100%. People are like, Jason, you can pound the booze. I'm like, bro, I'm an Irish Frenchman from Nova Scotia. It's like basically
in my blood.
DNA.
Like
it just happens.
I'm drunk all the time.
I synthesize alcohol in a different way than you do.
I know. I can put him back to, and people are like, "Are you even drunk?" I'm like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "I've got to go to bed."
Hammered.
Yeah, like seriously, I can handle my drink for sure. Too.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. But yeah, I mean, So like with discipline and going back to sports, learning how to lead, follow, and everything else really sets you up for your life lessons and success in life, right? Like how are you going to attack a situation?
Yeah.
You know, are you gonna stand back a little bit before you attack it? Are you gonna kind of go in balls blazing and then kind of sit back
and that then also translates to in adult life, right? Like now for people who are going through tough times, getting into a fitness program, going to the gym, finding a personal trainer, getting accountability and moving forward. I mean, that is, first of all, mental health. Number 101.
Yeah. Routine.
Yeah. And then you start to love yourself again, right? And then you can start building from there.
Well, routine and I think any habits, right, are formed. Yeah. Whether good or bad.
Routine and discipline is huge. Yeah. Like if you don't have those things, where do you go? I mean,
well, people see me work out in the gym sometimes. They're like,
yeah, I've been watching you lately, man. You've been like picking up some pretty big weights.
How are you? Yeah. Like, what? Like you're barely walking after that set. And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, how do you push yourself to that? Yeah. And I'm like, there's just a different gear that I've had. Mm-hmm. Even training as an athlete, you know.
It's like a stage name. You go on there, it's like a switch. You get on and then you go, right? You don't even think about it.
100%.
And you get into overdrive and you keep going. Yeah.
Yeah. So but with clients, I find that's the biggest thing is mental hurdles, right? Developing new habits, routines, kind of getting people in. And honestly, I find sometimes I'm as much of a counselor, you know, as I am a trainer to them.
You know what? I've had personal trainers before too, two in my life that are people I still talk to that have become really good friends of mine. And every time that we'd be training, it would be like it was a therapy session. It was, you know, like, why are you, what's going on with Gary today? Like, why are you not, you know, why are we only doing 10 instead of 12 reps? Like, why are you not pushing that extra bit? I could see it in you, right? And as a trainer, you learn these body languages from your clients, right? And you know that, okay, they're
well, there's also something like I feel when you're watching someone, you know what I mean? And you can see how hard they're pushing. You understand that there's more there.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And for me too.
There's always more in the bag.
When I'm working with someone that can really push me, I love that.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing better, you know? Yeah. I was working with this guy, Chris Saunders, you know, and he's an IFBB pro, great guy, awesome. You know, sees me in the gym. He's like, you're a monster. I'm like, you're a monster, bro. Like what? He's like, yeah, let's work out, man. We crush a leg session. I haven't had a guy keep up with me on hip thrusts. You know,
I'm not really good at legs. I can run, but I mean, like leg days, like, I mean, I've got such a crap knee as it is. Like, but it is, what do you do?
But I mean, the same thing, like it took me years to rehab my knee to where I'm at now, you know? Then now, you know, I'm squatting 500 like it's butter, and it's like, what's happening? Wild. You know,
we're gonna have to put on the bottom of this. We're gonna put on the bio. We're gonna just put your Instagram.
Yeah,
page
of course. Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
so the guys can check it out and make fun of you.
Just out here lifting heavy shit, picking up, putting heavy things down. You know, having a good time in the gym. I mean, honestly, like I've made so many friends and good relationships.
I think it's your energy too. It's just what you put out there, and that's probably the biggest part about probably why people are attracted to you is because they're like, okay, well, this guy seems like a friendly guy first of all, and then there's like layers, and then you know.
Well, I mean, not a lot of people really know the deep shit about me. You know what I mean? Which has really molded me into who I am. You know, and obviously, like, you know, going through business and then getting out here and whatever, then. You know what's funny? Actually, I was thinking about this actually when I was kind of thinking about doing this podcast.
Yeah,
and just so everyone knows, I had cancer a couple times, and we're going to get into that right now. But I
just a couple times.
Yeah, just a couple times. Once or twice, whatever. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But my mom, she said to me, she's like, you know, Jason, now that you're in your 30s, you should start going and getting your balls and your prostate checked. Mm-hmm. And I'm like,
so you would suggest for younger guys out there just to kind of make sure,
especially with how prevalent testicular cancer is right now, any adult male over the age of like 22, 23, you should be getting checked, you know, or checking yourself, you know.
So I mean, super lumps. Personal, but how are you checking yourself?
You just basically take your testicles, roll them around. If there's any lumps or bumps on, then go get them checked out right away.
Okay. You know, so are they just your testicles aren't supposed to be, I mean, they're supposed to be smooth and round all the way around.
That's right.
When you're, yeah. And you can actually feel like
feel like little bumps or something sometimes. And once like the doctor found it. He showed me, so I would understand.
Well, I mean, we're always down there washing anyways, right, so you might as well at the same time check it, right?
Yeah, you're just,
because I mean, you think about it, I can just take a soap and whatever, or some whatever cloth, 100%. And you just go and you don't even think about it, right?
Yeah,
it's good advice.
And my mom, she's like, make sure you get an ultrasound. Though. So I go to my family doctor. She checks me out, and
this is in your 30s now, hey?
Yeah, and I'm good. Yeah. I feel I'm good.
Yeah, you're healthy.
My doctor's,
you're very feeling healthy on the inside.
Yeah, like my blood pressure, everything is perfect. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like no high cholesterol, nothing. Like it's all good. Then my family doctor, she's like, no, everything looks good. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, I'm like, when my mom said to get ultrasound, she's like, yeah, it's not typically protocol now, but like, yeah, no problem. So we'll set it for you.
Yeah.
So I go into this.
So if you didn't even say I should probably get an ultrasound, they don't just throw it at you and say get an ultrasound.
Not necessarily when I'm just going in to get a check from my mother saying I should go get checked.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I mean, maybe there's certain doctors that would. Maybe that is protocol. Right. I don't know.
Okay. Right. But then again, with doctors, there's always they say there's always the person who was the.
Well, you have one doctor that's going to be more thorough. You're going to have one that's not. Whatever. So
someone just passes.
Always just ask. Because it's the only way to really know.
Yeah. Own it.
So I go into the ultrasound appointment thinking I'm good, whatever, they do their little scan thing. I'm thinking, okay, great. Hanging out there, the ultrasound doctor comes in. She just looks at me and she goes, I can't tell you that you have cancer, but like you
all
have cancer.
Indicators are pointing to
you have cancer. I'm like, what?
How old were you?
32.
Wow,
and I'm
young.
just like, or 33 actually. I was like, what?
Because I mean, it's a shock. Because you're like, you don't feel it. You know,
I was good. There was no symptoms. There was nothing. And the only thing that was is my mom told me to go.
Wild.
This mother's intuition thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm just like, shit. Okay, so I leave that appointment. I go in the car. It doesn't really hit me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I go home. I'm engaged at the time, and we had a baby, or we're about to have a baby.
So she's pregnant and you're engaged.
Yeah. And, it's literally thinking about this now. I'm just like, oh my God, like, we have this newborn baby. She's doing her thing. She's at home. I'm now find out I have cancer. 2 months after our son was born, her brother ended up passing, and he was 21.
From
just outside Medicine Hat in the South Saskatchewan.
Okay.
He was swept away in the river, and that was that. And she
heavy,
and they were close.
Yeah,
and honestly, like you're going through
being washed
so much.
In a river, you just there's not really any closure there because it's unnecessary, right? Almost.
Yeah, and the kid was great. He was an amazing kid. Yeah. Good energy, like just a great kid.
Right.
And it was just sad. It was extremely sad.
So she's got this going on.
And there's nothing. She just had a baby. Yeah. You have all this stuff going on. And now I need to go home and tell her that I have cancer.
Right. Okay. So you guys were so you already had the baby and you guys were engaged. And her brother, and then now cancer.
Yeah. And now I'm thinking, I'm like, okay. I go home and I tell her, I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, this is what's up. And, then I went in the car and I called my mom. And, dude, that was tough.
Yeah. Could you imagine like having that conversation with your best friend? Like you said, your mom,
tough.
Right?
It was very, very tough.
Sit there and be like, I don't know.
And
did you
they're
know
in Nova
stage
Scotia.
How far this all is yet? No, it's just straight. This is the first.
Yeah.
You heard it.
Yeah. And they're in Nova Scotia.
Right. They might as well be on the other side of the planet.
Right, of course.
Yeah, I mean, Canada's so big.
And I go to the doctor's appointment a few days later, and pulls me in, and after doing some exams and everything, he's like, yep, for sure you have cancer. We'll have you in for surgery next week. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Oh, okay. So they take me in, right nuts gone. And
were you matter of fact about it? I mean, like for me, like I thought about that part of the story that when you told me after we were in the gym while I was training, I was thinking about it, and like for me, I would think, okay, having one of my testicles taken out of me or taken away from me, like how is that in regards to your masculinity? Like, I mean, that's honest.
No,
question.
no.
I mean, in the best of a way.
100%. Yeah, no. it was one of those things that when I realized, I'm like, okay. I said to the doctor, I said, so what do you think? What do you suggest?
Yeah.
He's like, get it out.
Okay. I mean, it's a health thing now.
Yeah.
Right?
He's like, get it out.
Yeah.
He's like, you have another one.
Right.
And
true. We've got to.
You're not wrong, dude. You're not wrong. So
I guess in that point again, it's just your mind goes in overdrive, and it's a survival thing.
So I'm just like, okay, fuck it.
Yeah.
Let's go. And so I wake up from surgery and I'm like, oh my God, I can't really move.
Yeah.
They C-sectioned me and pulled my nut out through my stomach, bro.
Did they not tell you what they were going to do?
No. So I'm like, what? Like I nearly threw out when the doctor told me. He's like, I pulled your nut out through your stomach. I'm like, oh my God, what?
So is that a normal way of doing that then, I guess? Or
I guess
I would have thought they would have gone into the bag.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so bro, I get home, recovered from surgery.
Right.
Get home. I can't lift more than 5 pounds.
No,
I'm rolling on and off the couch.
Right.
Like the all new appreciation that I had for women who go under a C-section.
Right.
Because it's the exact same spot, cut through my abdominal wall. I have the scar there. It is what it is.
And not only that, but they had to pull out a 10-pound baby.
Right. Yeah.
You got
Listen, I shelled an ounce or two nut. Okay. Listen.
I like how you liken it to a pregnancy, but I get it though. I know.
I'm talking recovery wise in the specific injury.
Not to be insensitive to all the women that carry our babies.
Please
out
don't.
They might come after you.
Do not crucify me. I'm a good guy, I promise. No, but but it was one of those things. So luckily, it was caught early. I didn't need chemo or radiation, so that was great.
So it was then at that point surgery, and then you went back in and given the sort of 2 thumbs up.
So I was like, okay. Oh, yeah. So he's like, we'll do a follow up in 6 months.
Oh yeah.
Whatever, and confirm you're good. So I go into my first 6 month thing, thinking everything's all good, and he basically sits down. He's like, it's in your stomach and it's bad.
So now it moved, or was it something different now?
Different. Doesn't happen often. Wow. Very rare.
So at your inspection for getting the all clear, he's now found other cancer.
Yeah, and he's like, it's bad.
How did they find that?
So they go through blood work, and then obviously get CT scans and stuff, and then the tumors and stuff show up.
Wow. So that is gnarly.
Yeah, so I'm just like, okay.
And it's bad.
Yeah, it's bad. And basically a week after my kid turned 1, the doctor's like, yeah, it's
man, you barely even got up to dust off yourself.
Yeah, he's like, we're talking low percentage points here.
Where does your head go at that point? Now you've triumphed.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And now you're thinking I'm making plans
for sure. And anyway, and at this whole time, okay, for the last couple of months, I come to find out that's when I had a friend move in with me because I was helping him out. He had got kicked out of his place, and
was he from out east?
Yeah, he was from Newfoundland, and I found out that him and my fiance were sleeping together.
Shut up. While you are recovering from cancer, have a brand new baby, and then I know that your wife was going through some stuff. I don't know, man. That sounds like it's okay.
Then
what do you do now?
Besides that, I didn't even find out about that one fully until after the fact, after the second one, where a guy who I thought was a good friend of me, I ended up catching them.
That's a harder gut punch than actually finding out you got cancer again, man.
Bro. When I'm told how bad it was, then
how do you go from zero fucks given at that point?
Honestly, I just had to be like, I have this baby.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
And
there's more to it.
She did what she did for whatever reasons that she did them, and I washed my hands of that a long time ago. Mm-hmm. I moved on, forgave her. That's done.
Forgiving part's the hardest part.
Our son is a beautiful thing that came out of that relationship. He's the best kid ever. I wouldn't change that. you know, and I'm not going to be a petty bitch, to be blunt, to cause a harder life for my kid.
Your son, right?
You know what I mean?
It's for the betterment of him.
He's what's important.
Yeah.
You know, my feelings and me being hurt, that was tough in the moment.
That's gotta be.
And then understanding that, like, okay, Jason, you're in a spot right now where, you know, it's real fucking bad.
Yeah.
So you need to buck up, figure out what you need to do to get over this, to be here for that kid. You know what I mean? Yes, my parents and everything else. But I'll tell you, when I was going through that, I learned who my friends were real quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
I lost some good friends who I was friends with for years, since like elementary school, middle school, like people I just stopped talking to. And they're just like, yeah, no, I think I'm good, you know, type situation and deal. And I'm just like,
oh, for what? For what reason? Because you now not together with your wife, or
I have no idea, man. And I've never even asked. That's on them. I don't care at this point. And that's the thing.
Some people are also just jealous of the fact that, you know, you're moving on and you're as strong as you are. And, you know, it just shines shade on them that they're not being able to do and get out of their sort of pity parties. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean,
who knows?
I will say when that hit, probably about a month after I was diagnosed that time.
Yeah.
And
were you kind of in a shitty spot?
Here's what happened. So I'm going to, there was one morning I woke up.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, look, there's
listen, like, just going back. No, I'm
we
good.
can talk about whatever. And if this is something at the end, you're like, hey man, can we take it out?
I'm okay. I'm okay. Yeah. Like, I'm good. You'll always get,
it's just, honestly, it's just two brothers talking.
I get it. And you're always going to get 100% honesty with me.
Yeah.
I don't care. You know, like, I'm a very blunt, forged, straight, honest person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'll tell you how it is.
I respect that, man.
And if you get it, great. If you'd like me, great. If you don't, that's okay.
That's okay too. Yeah.
You know, like, there's lots of people in this world.
Not everybody likes hot sauce.
That's right. I get it.
Yeah.
And I'm full of it.
Sure.
You know, so I went into the shower one morning and I sat in that shower row and I cried for 3-4 hours. And
it's a good
that's nowhere to lie.
I've been in the shower crying before, man. It's,
you know, I've always been a strong dude.
You got to shed it though sometimes.
And that was looking back.
Strongest people cry, man. You have to
listen, looking back, I can tell you right now, that's the only time in that whole situation that I went through that I thought I wouldn't beat it.
Oh, okay.
That
you were just beaten down so
yeah. I mean, well, not only once did I have cancer, twice. The girl I'm thinking is I'm getting married to, and the mother of my kid cheats on me not once but twice with God, not anyone, just like guys that I know that I'm like helping your out. Mates. You know what I mean? Like
it's like getting super personal now. Like,
and then you're just like, you know, now you're hitting me with this again.
You know, I mean, I don't know how. I mean, we've spoken that I'm definitely faith driven, and I believe that like when all those things sort of happen to you, it's because you're meant for something bigger, and God's got like a big plan for you, right? And when that happens, the enemy is always after you, right? It's always trying to trip
should have died 3-4 times.
Oh yeah,
like I was, bro. I'm an Irish Catholic. Good Irish Catholic boy, so you got French Audis. Some roots. You know, it is what it is.
Yeah, you know it.
Baptized, confirmed, altar boy over here. It's all good. Yeah, you know. And
man, that's huge.
Don't get me wrong, we can talk about faith too.
I'm just trying to like connect.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, as an athlete, faith is also huge.
Yeah, you have to.
You know what I mean? You have to believe in something else.
You do
to go out there and perform at the highest level you possibly can, and leave everything else up to something else.
Yeah. You got to find an inner strength.
Yeah, because you can't go out there and be completely uninhibited unless you believe that something is there watching over you in some capacity, regardless of what that is.
Yeah.
Regardless if you're Catholic, Christian, Muslim, whatever, it doesn't matter.
Like I was talking to a rock climber and she was telling me the same thing. Like her whole like analogy or parable of like her faith line is that God is the person who's belaying her, right? So she's always got that safety net. So she can go and do higher things and climb higher heights because she knows that she's got that behind her, right?
Yeah, so I mean, don't get me wrong, man.
I know.
There was some place I was digging deep.
Yeah, dude,
and I'll tell you,
to the dark.
But when I get out of that shower, that was it. There was never another negative thought that ever popped in my mind that I wouldn't beat that shit.
Right.
And when I tell you it was hard, dude, my mom came out. Okay.
Yeah.
She flew out as I'm starting this chemotherapy drug.
So what happened? So like, so you found the stomach, right? Like,
yeah. So anyway, so I go through everything, and like the specific type cancer was like on a vascular system, and it needed to shrink.
Right.
So I went on this experimentalist drug that I was taking orally, chemotherapy, and anyway, friends of mine started like a GoFundMe page for me.
Oh, okay.
And it's funny because I actually just looked last night, and they never even took it down.
Yeah,
like it's still there, in some capacity. But I was just like,
it's like ghosts from the past.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my god, because I was thinking about this, right? And I'm thinking like, okay, how deep do I want to go into this story? And I'm like, no, you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah,
if I'm going,
I'm
going.
Yeah,
you know, so whatever. But like, you know, but the money they raised. And the money that people raised for me back home and everything else, honestly, was a stone's throw in the bucket for the tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars that I'd spend to just stay alive.
Wow.
That year. You know, and the thing is like that drug, and any woman listening to this who's ever been pregnant can relate. But like, the only thing that I could explain it to was extremely bad morning sickness all day, every day. And then at nighttime, around midnight, it would always kick in for a few hours where I would be in so much pain, Gary, puking blood on my bathroom floor. The only...
So now you're what, 33, 34?
Yeah. And and my mom is doing her thing down the hall because she knows I need to do this.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
She's letting you dig deep.
The only support I had in that moment was my dog.
Yeah.
You know? And Bernese Mountain Dog, and his name was Kingston. He's the best dog.
Beautiful dogs.
The best dog I've ever owned in every capacity. But his head, man, was on me every single night. Dude.
Yeah, they know, right? They just got that sense. They know
and I'm like,
something's not right.
And I was...
Oh, well, they have dogs that can actually sense cancer and things like that.
And I mean, you know, we did volunteering and shit sometimes at like the children's hospital and stuff like that. Like, he was such a good dog.
Oh, nice.
And so we've been in there and around that. You know, when he was a younger dog, and dude, you know, then I'm waking up at 6:30 a.m. and being a dad to a toddler.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
so going through all that night and like just like struggling and then having to like kind of put it together the next morning and
screw it, let's go.
Yeah.
Then, you know.
So how long did you have that for? Like,
battled that for 5, almost 6 months.
Okay.
And I ended up eating both cancers in the year.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
So one was quite a routine process, came out 2 thumbs up, like we said. And then the second one came and it was kind of, you were given a terminal.
Well, not terminal, but I mean, it was low.
It was low.
For sure.
Yeah.
And, you know, anyway, the drug did its job and went in. And,
clearly not terminal. I mean,
surgery, and then came out of that and had a bit of radiation, and that was good.
Okay.
Then I had to go for checkups every 3 months for the first 2.5, 3 years.
So then how recent was this now? Like how long have you been cleared?
5 years cancer free was December 28th.
Awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Huge. Knock on wood, man. That's amazing.
Yeah. So,
wow.
And I really started training again probably like 4-ish years ago.
Okay.
And I was 386, dude.
Yeah, I think I remember
a ton of weight.
when I met you, you were definitely a lot bigger and not as in shape as you are now. Like, I mean,
yeah, I was 386 pounds, man. I was around, dude. You go to my Instagram page and you look at where I was 4 years ago.
Yeah,
and then I have like.
Well, I didn't recognize you when I saw you in the gym. I kind of did, and I was like, I'm like, you know, when you see somebody, like, do I know them because I because I see them, or do I actually know that guy? And then I turn around and you look, and you're like, hey, man, I'm like, I totally know that guy. Like, that's why I said right here, I'm like, man, you're looking good.
Yeah.
Looking great.
Yeah. Honestly,
awesome.
I feel the best I've ever felt. And, you know, came back and then I just put it to helping people, you know, and giving back what I can. And, and I think like mindset was a big thing for me getting over cancer for sure. Mindset's a big thing in the way of life in anything you do. For sure. You know what I mean? But like always the forward thinking, positive mentality and understanding that optimism is a thing. You know, you're only bound by the constraints that you put on yourself through your own mind and body. You know what I mean? And that's something that I believe.
It's huge. That is,
and we can change all that.
Mm-hmm.
The things that we can't control, a lot of people in this world, and I've been guilty of it before too, the things that we can't control, we let weigh us down and constrict us the most. And I learned a long time ago to just let that shit go. Because the stuff that I can't control, I can't control. Just life is going to happen. Shit is going to get hit at you. You're going to get knocked down. You're going to get up. Things are going to be great. Things are going to be horrible. The stuff that you can't control, forget about it.
Yeah.
The stuff that you can control, focus on that stuff.
So
focus on the good.
I mean, there's a lot of people out there. Like I'm 100% on team let it go. Like I mean, a little bit about my backstory too, obviously. And man, what are you doing if you are in that shower and you walk out and you still haven't let it go? Like, I mean, you've had your dad, you've had him sort of show you how to propel out of pretty dark
honestly,
places.
it's having a true support system of someone you can lean on.
That's a big one.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that.
Like
finding somebody.
I don't know if you have this, you know what I mean? And not many guys do.
Yeah.
But if you can think of one guy or two guys, maybe three guys in your life that if you called at 3 a.m., no questions asked, they're going to be wherever you need them to be.
Oh yeah, I do have those.
Like there's very few people in this world like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you have any of those as a human being, then tops off to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because those type of people are rare.
Yeah.
You know, and I
as that meme says, like surround yourself with 2 or 3.
Right. I always tell friends, people I know, anyone who knows me, if they need something, I'm there. It doesn't matter.
Community is huge, man.
It doesn't matter.
You can't do life alone.
I could know you for 10 minutes. I could know you for 10 years.
Yeah.
If you need something,
I'm the same way.
You're a solid human being, and I've said, listen, I'm there. I got you.
Yeah.
You don't need to look back to make sure that I'm there. As you're walking down the road, I'm fucking there.
That's a solid trait to have, man.
And that's something that I pride myself on.
That anymore.
That's something I truly pride myself on.
That's what I want this podcast to be about too, is people like you and having stories like you did too, so that people realize that, hey, you can't do it alone, and we should be doing it together.
And just be a good human.
Just be a good human.
Like, I was talking to someone the other day. I'm like, it takes nothing to be a good human. It doesn't cost you any money. It doesn't.
And you know what it actually does? It makes you actually feel better.
I feel great.
Right? Like if I feel like I'm in a shitty headspace and I get up in the morning, when I talk to somebody, or if I'm helping somebody, or if there's just a human connection, I like forget about it. And then I actually inside, I feel like I'm helping myself out. So it feels a little bit selfish, but it's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge believer in just doing one thing nice every single day
100%.
for a random stranger. I don't care what it is. Dude. I could hold a door. I could smile. I could give someone a high five, a bump in the gym.
Yeah.
Actually,
and I've seen you do it. You're not just saying it. I've seen you do it. Like after I even spoke to you, you'll talk to people and like everyone around you, and you're like fist pumping, and everyone's doing their stuff, and like. Yeah. You're not blowing.
No, I'm a dude who if I say something, I will do it.
I believe that.
I wasn't always like that in my life, but I've been like that for a long time now, and that's who I am. And honestly, I take a lot of that as growth.
People, it's growth.
Growing up,
you don't have to start from a great place, but you can finish in a better one.
I feel like everything that's happened in my life has literally consistently made me the best version of myself that I am.
Yeah.
I'm in a space now where
kind of humbles you a bit, hey?
100%.
Yeah.
I understand the tough shit I went through. I understand that I'm fortunate to have the parents that I do. I'm fortunate to have the morals, ethics, and values instilled in me that they did, that have given me the chance to flourish and to become the man that I am.
It's huge.
When I'm sitting there,
and it makes you
I think it was 2 Christmases ago. 3 Christmases ago, I'm sitting there in the living room, and my mother and father were sitting there, and we're having a drink on Christmas Eve and watching Home Alone.
Yeah, as you do.
Yeah.
Traditions.
Yeah. Nice. And Beckham went to bed, and my parents looked at me and they go, Jason, they're like, we've never been so proud of you. The job that you've done raising that kid.
Yeah. It's a feather.
Like,
I mean, what do you? I mean,
tears, bro. Like, tears.
Die and go to heaven right now,
I'm good. Yeah. Like, I think so highly of my parents
Oh,
and who they are
you're
as
giving me a little
human
lump in my
beings,
throat, man. That's huge,
bro, and who they are as human
Family is-
beings,
yeah.
what they've instilled in me and who I am and how I want to live my life. I thought if I can raise my kid half as good, and do half the job my
Right.
parents did with me, he'll be a great kid. You know what I mean? Like, and
How old is your son now?
He's 6.5.
Oh shit!
Turned 7 in April. Yeah.
So he's first school years and stuff already.
Yeah, like, but I mean, we're best friends, dude.
Yeah.
Like, we're best friends. And
how is the
I
whole
love
co-parenting going? Are you?
It's good.
You guys good?
Yeah. There's no drama there. We live our best life.
Yeah.
She's married, has another kid.
Okay.
I'll watch her other kids sometimes.
Oh, right.
Yeah, like we're good.
Man,
we
you've
do
really
his
sorted
birthdays
it out.
together.
Like,
Listen,
that is the best outcome you could have. Like,
listen.
real,
There's
right?
nothing in this world that holding on to in a negative light.
Did you ever have a conversation to her about her cheating?
We talked.
Yeah.
And I mean,
was she just like in a really bad space after her brother too? Was she dealing with some stuff that?
Listen, I seen depression through my dad.
Yeah.
And when I was telling her like maybe we should talk to someone, because I started to see similar paths happen in her that I'm
not excusing
that I seen in my father. No, but I'm just saying, like, like, and she ended up getting good, and she got on some medication, started seeing someone, and she got great.
So she's getting healthy,
100%. And like, I didn't, and I mean, I'm still.
She is still the mother of your child.
Listen,
right? I mean,
you'll never hear me talk a negative thing about her.
It's amazing.
Like telling the story, fine.
Sure.
It's all good.
Yeah. It's
but I respect the hell out of that woman. For who she is as my son's mother.
Yep.
And the job she does raising him, along with me, like she's an amazing woman. She does her thing. She busts ass, and I think we kind of kill it, co-parents. Awesome, and I think we're raising a pretty spectacular son. And I mean, she's done shit in her past, and I've done shit in my past, but it's done. Yeah, like
once you kind of get at to a certain point, it's over. It's over.
Yeah. And I mean, she, her husband now is great. They have another little kid. He's chill. Like, it's all good.
It sounds like a Disney movie in the end.
No, listen, it's not all roses and rainbows.
No, but it's the best outcome. But like, that is huge.
I mean, we're not hanging out every weekend, but like,
and I mean, like, you know what? If you didn't have that, I guess forgiveness in your heart, you probably wouldn't have been able to get through all those hard times and still continue to keep going, right?
No. I just speaking of faith, actually, which is crazy. And I was just, you talking about that made me think back. So I was in this really bad car accident, actually, when I was, I'm going to say probably 23.
Okay. Shit.
22, 23, somewhere in that range. Just after I'd started to get my shit together again, right? I'm driving down the highway, heading north, a couple hours up to some prospecting and whatever. And I had a guy with me, and he fell asleep because we left early.
Driving? No, you were.
No, I was driving.
Okay.
Anyway, so I hit a pothole, my tire pops on the highway. So I start to guide it into the median, because back east, they're like these big grassy things. I'm like, okay, least amount of damage, probably won't really fuck up the car. Mm-hmm. We'll survive. It's all right.
Yeah.
He wakes up when we hit the gravel thinking I fell asleep. And he woke up thinking I was asleep, which is why we hit the gravel. But I was just steering my car in. Right. He grabs my wheel, rips it out of my hands. We fly across the road off this 25, 30-foot embankment, hit a culvert. The car flips 3-4 times. I'm thrown from the car. My whole side of the car is crushed. The only reason why I even live is because my seatbelt lets go. Jeez. And I get thrown from the car. My whole side of the car is completely flattened. His is fine. I land on this tree. I land on this tree stump. Okay, couple lungs, whatever, and
couple lungs.
Yeah, couple punctures. This fucking big gash here from fucking bone. Glass in my fucking arm and everything else. Anyway, yeah, I'm kind of in shock. I don't really know what's going on. Anyway, I've always been a man of faith in certain aspects where I believe in something. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As I got older, it kind of wasn't necessarily the preachings of the church, because I found personally, you know,
I think
depending on
everyone
where
has
it
a
gets,
personal relationship with God and the Creator.
So anyway,
yeah.
whatever.
Mhm.
Nah, that hasn't stopped my faith or believing or praying or anything like that. You know what I mean? But whatever. Anyway, probably 6 months previous, my grandfather passed, and I thought I had a lot more time with him than I did, and I didn't.
Oh, that's bad.
And he was
being in your early 20s and they're gone. That's soon.
But he was like a dad to me.
Yeah.
So like he lived. I'm talking like across your backyard away.
So yeah. So
right.
You guys
That's
were all
where my grandparents lived, and like they were up and down, and like they picked up the slack when my parents were working shift work and whatever. You were there. We'd have dinners at there a lot, whatever. Yeah. Like he was. My grandparents on my dad's on my mom's side were like parents to me.
Yeah, it's like my grandparents that were in Germany. We had them until they were in their late 80s and 90s. So they were around for us.
And so I mean, when I lost him, man, it killed me.
Oh yeah,
fucking killed me. I couldn't even.
It's a natural progression, but it's still it's hard, man.
I couldn't go to his grave. Till probably 3 or 4 years later. When my
you were also younger too, so you weren't ready for that.
No,
right?
But my grandmother ended up succumbing to Alzheimer's, and when we were at his funeral, she's like, "Where are we? Who? You know what I mean?"
Heartbreaking, man.
Yeah. And she was like a shell of herself, and that's the first time I went back when she passed.
Okay.
To see his grave, and absolutely crushed me, dude. But like, anyway, long story short, on that topic, I go to the hospital. Get sent to the hospital in the ambulance, whatever. Anyway, and I'm kind of sitting there in the hallway. This lady comes up to me and she goes, "You don't know who I am. And if you want me to leave, it's completely okay when they start talking." And I'm like, "No, I understand." She goes, "I was in the car directly behind you."
Oh.
And she said, "When you got thrown from the car," she said, "I've never believed in anything in my entire life." She said, "When you got thrown from the car," and looking back on this, when I go to the site, where I landed was probably one of the only spots I can land
that would have
and survive. She said, you were flying through the air, and she said she witnessed me basically stop, change direction, and fall down in this one spot.
Yeah, like just unexplained.
Yeah, and she's like, "I just had to tell you that because," she's like, "that is something."
I love those God incidences.
That like whatever. Yeah. And 6 months previously, my grandfather passes away, and we're that close.
Yeah,
dude. Like
he was out there looking for you.
I told my
parents. We have angels. We have guardians.
I told my mom, and honestly, sorry. Yeah, like it was one of those things. That like he just meant so fucking much to me, you know, and was such a huge influence in my life that like hearing that from her and going through what I just went through, you know what I mean? Like hit me in such a deep way that when my mom, my parents got up to the hospital, and I told them what this lady said, and she just broke down and started crying with me. She's like, that's exactly what your grandfather, you know, and it's like, yeah. So
that's nice, man. You know what? And the thing is with those sort of things is that, you know, not only did you survive that, you got through your cancer once, and then not even once, but twice.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. There's a big call on your life for sure. Like, and you know,
listen, if I can help anyone, you know, and
that's your gift naturally. Like it really, really is.
I truly hope so. I mean, there's a lot in this world that is wrong, you know,
especially of late.
Yeah. And if I can be any part of that can make it good, bro, that's all good. You know, I believe in a lot of things in this world, but one of them that I strongly believe in is that, you know, I'm here to help.
Yeah.
You know, and when I'm training people, and I want them to understand, like, I'm not just some dude on the internet, you know, who has good genetics, who is using this, that, the other thing. Listen, if you're going to train with me, you're training with an authentic human who's been through the shit, come out on the other side.
I like to call it the degree of life.
Yeah. I'm going to sit here and crush it with you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's what I say to every
and you
single
are an
client.
open book, man. Your heart's here. You went through your story. You were telling me some pretty deep stuff, and in the end got emotional about things that you love, and that what it is it's family and it's community, man. And if what can you do better than that?
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, just thinking about that and tying everything in, when my dog passed, because I had to put my dog down a couple of years ago. Sunday we go for a run. We used to run 4 or 5K every day. Sunday we go for a run. Monday he's lethargic, kind of whatever. I'm like, maybe he tweaked himself. Tuesday I'm like, nah, something's all right. Hasn't eaten. I take him to the vet. He has cancer.
Oh,
and I'm putting him down on Saturday.
Oh, brutal.
And I'm just like,
yeah. We've had an animal go through cancer too.
But I'm just like,
just too quick.
And
the thing is, they don't even show the pain. No, never.
This dog was there for me.
Yeah.
Through every step of me going through cancer. And I couldn't do anything for this dog.
Yeah.
It ripped my fucking heart out, Gary. Like, it killed me. Like, it killed me. You know?
I feel that.
And going back, thinking that, going through that, understanding that, after I put him down, my 4-year-old, Beckham, he comes back and, I used to put music on for my dog.
Yeah.
Love jazz. Why? I don't know. Dog love jazz. Okay, whatever. It is what it is. But I put jazz on for him every day before we left the house. And I'll show you the picture after. But
yeah.
He yells up the stairs. He's like, Dad, Kingy's ready. We need to put the music on before we leave. And I come down the stairs, bro. He has this Bernese Mountain Dog stuffy that he wrapped in a blanket and put Cheerios in a bowl. Bro,
oh my gosh.
The kid is 4.
No.
It's 4. It's like a week after this happens, dude. I'm like, dude, who are you? Like, stop it right now. Like, who are you? Stop. Jesus Christ. I'm like, do you know what you're doing to me right now, kid? Like, shit. But yeah,
it comes from a good spot though.
Yeah, I'm just like, man, the kid is
it's hard.
Kid is right after me for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was, I've been through it, man. It's tough. But like, again, the whole point of being here and hopefully people listening, can take away from this is that, you should never stop believing in yourself and what you can do.
Well said.
Because no one may believe in you in this world, but if you believe in yourself, bro, everything will happen. It may not be easy. And trust me, when I say I know it's
still
not,
got to put the work in, right?
I know it's not easy, but believe in yourself and good things will happen.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's it.
Yeah.
Man, what a journey, dude. Jason, I really appreciate you. I respect you. I'm humbled by your story and it inspires me. And I know that I know that when I put this out here, it's gonna. I actually had people ask. I gave little snippets to some family members and stuff that I was talking to this week. I was going to tell them that we were going to be talking about your subject and stuff. And I was like, well, when are you going to have it out?
Right.
Like Thursday? Is it going to be out Thursday night? Is it going to be out Friday? Because just even the buzz around that, man. Your story is really good, and I know that.
Well, listen, man.
I'm getting impacted by it,
hopefully, it can motivate and help some people, and inspire some people to just be a better person.
100%, and not even just
be a better version of yourself.
You have a voice, man, because you've been through it.
Yeah,
it's not someone who's just talking about it. It's someone who's been through it, come through it, still going through it, and making life a positive and a brighter place.
Yeah,
and by training people, man, you're making people happier.
Yeah, a lot of my clients become friends of mine.
Yeah, it's important. Well, you spend a lot of time together.
For sure.
I mean, like, how often can you go through it and, like, force people to, like, break barriers and reach new PBs and, like, and all those, like it's the amount of people that will come up to me or reach out to me or just touch base to me and be like, do you know how hard it is? I'm like, yeah I do.
I'm a single dad working full time, building my business. I know how hard it is.
You know, didn't you also come from also being quite heavy yourself and then getting back into shape after cancer?
Yeah. So I was like I said, I was 386.
So it's not like, you know, you had, like you said, like born with a 6-pack, right? No. Like it's like you've come from a place and you've created your
100%. Yeah. Right? Like
you're an example.
5 years ago, man, I was 386, probably 50-60% body fat.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
You know?
So, I mean, I mean, it's like, already right there. Like it's you already.
Yeah. Like I you know, going through that alone, you know, losing that kind of weight, shedding a whole human and a different version of yourself.
Yeah.
You literally I mean,
that's why I said I didn't recognize you when I saw you in the gym. I was like, man, you like really like come a long, long way.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help. I don't go crazy, you know, with pricing. I try to keep it extremely reasonable, especially for like, you know, parents who have kids and whatnot, who can't typically afford, you know, the 8-10 grand or whatever you're going to be paying at like a good life. They be trained by someone who doesn't really know what they're doing, who just went and got a course on the weekend, you know, like, so listen, if I can help, you know, a 14-year-old kid, you know, and run sports, like I'd love to get working strength and conditioning with teams
for sure.
And youth, you know what I mean? And then put my focus into helping, you know, parents and people who just struggle to find balance. Because if you can have a voice of someone who's in your corner and can help you create that routine and that space for yourself,
like you said, like a space for routine, even if it's just small adjustments, it's a huge change for the rest of your life.
Little things.
Yeah.
Little things are big things. We say back home, actually, big snow is little snow is big snow. And little snow means it's going to snow a lot.
Okay.
Right? And big snow means it's not going to snow much. So if you think of things in little snow terms, every little thing that happens in your life is going to lead to one big thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you may have to take so many different paths to get there. There might be so many trials and tribulations you have to go through, and it may not be easy, or it may beeline it. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you can never doubt yourself, doubt who you have in your circle, doubt the things that you're capable of, because you're capable of so much.
Right. And don't be afraid to fail.
No.
Right? That's the biggest part of it too. Fail a million times.
I've failed lots.
Oh, same.
I've failed lots. You know, and the thing is, like, when you're going through that super tough shit, that's where everything is made.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. That's where you understand
can't even learn
and learn
that crap
yourself.
in a textbook. You have to go through it. Yeah.
No. People ask me, they're like, I'll start talking to people sometimes about my story, and they're like, Jesus, like, how do you even, like, some of the stuff you say, like, where does that even come from?
Right. Like the strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, it just comes.
Yeah.
You know, you just got to believe.
It's a muscle again.
You got to believe that it's going to be there. Your mind.
Yeah.
You know, like, the mind is a crazy thing, because it can constrict and restrict the hell out of you. And then it can open up and like flow you to new heights and everything else.
100%.
You know, and I think, like, a lot of the time when you're kind of, you know, going through something with someone else, or watching someone go through something, or you're going through it yourself, you know, just understand and know that there's lots of people out there who have gone through the same shit, who are going through the same shit, who will go through that shit.
Yeah.
You know?
And you know what?
And it's up to you if you're going to come out on the other side as a better version of yourself or not, or as a worse version of yourself.
And what's good about that too is I had somebody in South Africa actually say to me when I started this podcast, when I was telling my story, they're like, you know what? Your story is important because you've already paid the school fees. And if you've already paid the school fees, you know, we have then the ability to be able to tell somebody, hey, look, you know, maybe you shouldn't do it this way.
Right.
You know, we have that experience and that, you know, life trial done. You know?
No, I agree.
Man, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Thanks
for being so open and honest and candid, dude.
Course.
Like, you know,
of course. Listen, you know, you can find me on Instagram, obviously.
I'm going to put all your stuff and on the bottom. So on Spotify, please thank you very much for joining us.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's been great. It's been a good talk. Hopefully, hopefully you enjoyed my voice, my tears somewhat, and but it was great.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me. I had a great time.
For sure. Thank you. If you found this helpful, please, it helps when you do click and subscribe and follow and all that fun stuff. Like we have to kind of plug
Make it happen.
Make it happen. Yeah. The more people we have that follow, the bigger the traction gets. So if this helped you out, please share it to somebody that probably needs it. And have a great time.
Yeah. And, happy Friday.
Yeah, almost happy Friday.
Well, almost. It's pretty much.
It is happy Friday.
I live happy Friday even on even midday Thursday. I'm already on Friday. Yeah. So happy Friday.
Friday Eve. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're good.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.